What's going on, great people of YouTube? We are finally back on the Astronomical show. It has been way too long. The last time we did this shit was the Rams were literally playing week the Bills. So that was like it's been a long time.
A lot has
Um
happened since then.
I didn't have okay, we're university students. We don't have time to do this stuff anymore. But we finally found some time to finally do it. So thank you, Luke, for joining us today on the show. Luke just did one of his shows as well too. Link for Luke's show on the University of Miami Recruitment will be down below in the description. Um, so yeah, man, a lot of big things happened
Yes.
on November 1st. Of course, you got the NFL trade deadline. Lots of crazy trades out there, and secondly, it's that time of year again, bro. Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You" starts playing fucking everywhere because like November 1st just seems to be the thing where people just start playing Christmas music because why not?
Yeah, that's happening once again. I'm gonna hear a song everywhere. It's something that's it's the inevitable come Christmas time. But no, dude, like the trade deadline was nuts this year. I think I saw like a record, I forgot the exact amount, but it was a record-setting amount of trades that actually happened on deadline day. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it was one after the other. Big time trades too, trades that contenders going all in, teams that are selling, really selling, for lack of a better term. But no, so a lot of good moves, a lot of things that I liked from different teams. And yeah, no, as a Dolphins fan, I am happy with how the trade deadline went yesterday or went November 1st.
so Bradley Chubb and Jeff Wilson, how are you feeling about those two pieces?
Yeah, dude. So Bradley Chubb, 5.5 sacks so far this year. Part of just a loaded Broncos pass rush. Smart move for them. The thing with Denver, right, is like I don't. It was smart of them not to trade Jerry Judy. This year has not gone how they've planned. I'm sure Vince can tell all
Let's
of you.
ride.
Yeah, as the residential Broncos fan here.
What
But
do you mean? I'm a Miami fan. See, I get it.
oh yeah, oh yeah, no, we're not skipping over the roots there. No, no, you're not going away scotch-free. But no, I think this move was smart either way for Denver, just because they do have that depth, at the edge, and weren't really intending to resign Bradley Chubb. So given that you're able to get a first out of him, when he wasn't going to probably be part of your team anyways that following season unless they were going to franchise tag him, but it's obsolete at this point. It was very smart, very smart move for them. I think a win-win for both teams. The Dolphins, they are picking up one of the premier top 10, top 15, probably safely top 15, probably top 10 pass rushers in the league, especially when healthy. It's the only thing with Chubb is his durability. But, when he's healthy on the field, he is just an impact player. And um, definitely a position of need for Miami because they have been lacking that true pass rusher. Generating pressure has been somewhat of an issue for them this season just because they haven't been able to run as much, cover zero as they normally do. One of the staples of this Josh Boyer, Brian Flores like defense that, Flo brought into Miami initially was just the exotic blitz packages, the exotic looks, showing cover two, then blitzing seven, showing cover zero, then only sending it just a lot of different looks. And the hallmark of that was, having Xavier Howard and Byron Jones as your two cornerbacks. And with Byron Jones not playing this season, or up to this point of the season, and given that his availability right now for the rest of the season, we don't really know when he's going to play. So they, have been forced to, and especially now, especially with Nick Needham out for the entire season, they've had to throw some either journeymen or rookies or Noah Igbenogany into that number two corner spot. And they don't really have that true pass rusher. Yeah, Jalen Phillips, yes, but he's been a half second slow on a lot of impact plays. Emmanuel Ogba really hasn't, played to his contract level this season.
I like
And
Ingram though.
I I am glad you said that, dude, because Melvin Ingram has been balling this year. He's been balling, but he doesn't have that same quickness, that same first step that he had when he was with the Chargers initially.
Yeah.
But basically, a long way of saying right now is that the Dolphins needs a pass rush to create some organic pressure without dialing up these exotic blitzes just because they don't have the secondary to do so. Bradley Chubb fixes that. Great move for them. And then Jeff Wilson, Chase Edmonds was part of that Bradley Chubb deal. Edmonds, I like Edmonds. I don't think this was a great scheme fit for him. I really didn't mesh. He actually led the league in drop passes, even though he only has 17 targets. A lot of drops, a lot of key drops, and it just wasn't a great fit for him. Wish him the best. But in return, for a fifth round pick, you're picking up Jeff Wilson, who did very well in Eli Mitchell's absence. Now he's in a situation where, when Eli Mitchell returns, obviously they have Christian McCaffrey now. He's probably going to not play so much. So San Francisco was able to get a fifth out of him. He knows that system very well. Mike McDaniel, Wilson, they go way back, and I think that's a great move. I think Mostert and Wilson will form pretty good running back core in Miami.
The Miami 49ers, right?
Dude, the Miami 49ers. It was the Miami Patriots of Flores. Now it's the Miami 49ers.
Yes, sir. All right, man. So, what was the most surprising trade that happened on the deadline to you? And also, what is probably something you saw coming?
Yeah. Surprising. I think.
I got the list on here. I could
Yeah, I think surprising. I'm probably gonna go with TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings, just
oh
because
yeah.
it was division to division, which we don't see super often. Um, let's see the list. Yeah. Uh, that's a lot of move. Robbie Anderson got moved to the. See, even I missed that. I had no idea Robbie Anderson got moved to the Cardinals.
You didn't know about that? Huh.
I didn't. I completely missed over that.
Yeah, he threw a big temper tantrum, bro. Well,
Oh
I
yeah,
wouldn't say he didn't pull an Antonio Brown, but dude was
yeah. I
he was
kind of
beaking with Steve Wilkes,
yeah.
and all I remember is him pointing and telling him to go to the locker room. So and then dude got traded the day after. So yeah.
Well, after doing that, that's probably the best move for both sides. Yeah, I would say probably most surprising was the TJ Hawkinson deal, even though his name was mentioned in trade talks. I love that trade for both teams, by the way, just because the Lions 1-6 now. They have a very good offense and still in rebuilding mode. They're going to get Jameson Williams back maybe this year, if not this year, next year. But they're really not going all in, of course, on this year. And they're eventually going to have to extend TJ. I don't think they really want to do that just because I think they want to, use their abundant cap elsewhere, the defense, because their defense needs help.
Yeah.
And so, in return, they get a second round pick for him. And then the Vikings, they're in win now mode. They are 6-1, even though I don't think they're really that great.
Mhm.
But they're 6-1, and they're adding another piece to a loaded offense. Not only is Hawkinson going to be another receiving threat for Kirk Cousins to pass the ball to, but he's also a very good run blocker and someone who can help, facilitate, what Cook and Madison have going for them in the run game. So I like that trade for both teams. And then surprising, the Naheem Hines to Buffalo trade definitely caught me a little off guard. I love that trade for Buffalo. I just because while Hines isn't this super high volume running back, high volume, high carry running back, he is a great receiving back and someone I think complements Devin Singletary very, very well. You're gonna add in some James Cook into the mix. His um, share of the running back room has slowly increased. I love James Cook. I love the running back core. They don't have that star guy, but three guys who all bring something a little different. Whereas you had Zach Moss, who I think was kind of like an odd man out, really. So What about you, man? What was your, I guess, surprising trade?
So obviously, besides Christian McCaffrey, we'll rule that one out.
Oh yeah,
Would
that there was that.
it would probably be. I think it was Calvin Ridley. Honestly, like I did not. Yeah, I would not have expected the Falcons to trade him. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
Lawrence gets a deep threat. I mean, I don't really know too many of the. I mean, they've got like Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, who Christian Kirk didn't do crap against the Broncos game, so I don't really. I don't know. Isn't he like the number one receiver? Or it's either him or Zay
yeah.
Jones. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's I mean, he had a really, as a former Christian Kirk fantasy owner before, I absolutely robbed one of my friends by trading Kirk for Travis Etienne, which the trade I will always be very proud of, given that Etienne's an RB1 now. But yeah, no, Kirk had a really strong first couple weeks, kind of fell off a little bit. Now he's starting to come back on a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that trade was surprising just because Ridley was kind of in that trade, kind of on the trade block before the whole suspension thing, and then haven't really heard anything since then, and then just comes out of nowhere. But yeah, no, I agree with you that that trade definitely caught me off guard.
Yeah, and then I think the most like the one I saw coming is because I've followed Pittsburgh for a while because of my dad. Chase Claypool, I knew his time was coming, bro. Unfortunately, I knew his time was coming. I didn't know he was gonna go. That did surprise me. He went to the Bears, though. I mean,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, like you could see it in like Chase Claypool. He's a no disrespect to him because we're both BC boys, but BC boys can be pretty fucking cocky and stuff. And I'm not trying to shit on Claypool at all. Really good dude. I haven't really I never met him or anything like that, but I just know how BC boys play football, and he definitely had a bit of an attitude issue in Pittsburgh. Well, there was that incident last season, I think, with like uh go. I don't know if you remember that against the Vikings. He like got the first down, then he started like going like, oh, it's a first down, but then like one of his teammates like told him, hey, we gotta line up and spike this ball.
I
So
remember that. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that. Yeah, I didn't know Claypool was from the BC area. That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I mean, well, listen, good for Chicago. Actually, good for act. I'm glad at least one team not solved, but at least tried to improve their wide receiver situation this trade deadline. Chicago was one of the teams who needed a receiver badly. Justin Fields needs some help. I actually like Justin Fields a lot, by the way, but he has no help. They got
No,
him some help. They got him Chase Claypool. Good for them. Really did not like the Giants. Not like, listen, when Wandale Robinson is your wide receiver one, that's not ideal.
Mhm.
There were receivers on the trade block. You could have gone to Chase Claypool. I mean, yes. Are are the Giants overachieving right now? Yes. Do they probably have the mindset that like, hey, yes, we're probably going to make the playoffs, but at the same time, is this a team that is likely going to contend? Probably not. So I don't think they're taking a super win now mindset, but at the same time, you kind of have to because your most important player is a running back, and that is such a ever changing position. I mean, just take a Todd Gurley, for example. I mean, from one year to the next, I mean, his career fell off so quickly. You don't know what Saquon's gonna look like next year. You don't. So you have to take advantage of the window while you have him and while he's a top three running back at worst in the NFL. So I don't know. There's the whole thing with Odell Beckham returning to New York. We'll see what happens there, which I mean that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see him do something, just something to try to improve that wide receiver core. And then the Packers refuse to give Aaron Rodgers some help,
They want him to retire, bro. Fuck.
dude. It's
He's not like he's fucking playing good anyway. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just like it's yes, he hasn't been playing great, but at the same time, it's like he doesn't have any help, and I there was this weird stat, right, where it's like the Packers are really good at moving the ball and they're a really good red zone team, but their offense turns to not like I don't know the exact stat, but like from their own 40 to Chicago, or not Chicago, but the opponent's 40, they're awful. Like they have a tendency of their drives just like stalling out. And it, Chicago, not Chicago. I don't know why I keep on saying Chicago. Green Bay's a mess. Green Bay's a mess. Their defense is solid, but the run defense is still leaky, and it's like I don't love what's happening there. And it's I they could have given her Aaron some receiving help. They didn't. Yeah, it's just it's a rough situation there.
Yeah, yeah. I would say if there was a receiver, it would probably be Odell. Like, oh, it's the Rams, the Packers, and the Giants, I believe, that are the only ones in the market at the moment. So
Yeah.
hopefully he goes to one of those teams. I wouldn't like as an Odell Beckham Jr. fan, I don't care where he goes as long as it's not you know, anywhere I hate like Tampa or Cowboys. So yeah.
Like likely not those teams. So you're probably gonna be happy either way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or if I mean, if he goes to he's definitely not going to the Chiefs, Raiders, or Chargers. So I mean, I wouldn't really mind seeing him on the chart. Like, look, I don't fucking hate the Chargers. As a Broncos fan, we fucking hate the Raiders and the Chiefs. I have a lot of respect for you Charger fans. So any Charger fans watching, bolt up.
Both up. Yeah, that's. I mean, can't Kansas City and just talking about this real quick. I wonder how they're gonna mesh with Kadarius Toney. I mean, like we'll see how involved he gets within the offense early and then throughout the rest of the season. But the more and more the season progresses, I really like what the Chiefs have at wide receiver, and of course they have Travis Kelce. But I mean, Pat Mahomes is so awesome, and they have a lot of good. They don't have that number one receiver like a Tyreek Hill, but like they have guys. They have Juju. They have Valdes Scantling. They have Nicole Hardman. Now they have Kadarius Toney. In addition to a generational tight end. So it's like they have guys, and I really liked how they have, and now, and as I just said, they've added Tony to the mix. I really liked how they've really, rebounded from the Tyreek Hill trade, and really, unlike what Green Bay did with Devontae Adams. Yes, I know they added what's his name, Christian Watson, but the Chiefs really made a strong effort to make up for what they lost by adding Juju, by now adding Tony, by drafting Sky Moore, by adding Valdez Scantling. They've really, really tried to replace Tyreek, and while it's hard to replace him, they've done an amazing job adding great weapons to that room.
All right, man. So yeah, trade deadline over. I gotta say, since we're in the it's mid season, right? That's why the
Yeah, it's we're entering week 9. Is it mid season? Yeah, we're there. We're
okay,
there.
okay.
Yeah, we're
So
there.
so my picks originally from the beginning of the year, I was gonna go Rams, Bills, Super Bowl. I think that's changed now. I'm actually, as much as I don't want to, the only reason why I don't like San Francisco is Jimmy Garoppolo. But other than that, with Christian McCaffrey, I think they're Super Bowl contenders. I think they could beat like for me. It's either gonna be the Niners versus the Bills or Chiefs, or the Eagles versus the Bills or Chiefs. What are your
I
thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't see any other AFC team besides. I mean, the Bills and Chiefs just like a cut above everyone else in the AFC. And yes, the Dolphins did beat the Bills. Yes, I think the Dolphins couldn't put up a fight, but it's just like I need to see the Dolphins in a playoff atmosphere before it's just hard to project because we haven't seen them in that. We haven't seen these Dolphins in that type of atmosphere. So we'll see with that. But so I'm thinking Bills, Chiefs. I, I think this year will be the year where the Bills. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen eventually. Josh Allen has to make a Super Bowl sooner or later. I think it's gonna happen this year. In the NFC, there's just like no, I'm like besides the Eagles and the Niners, like the Cowboys maybe, but I'm not. They have a great defense, by the way. I mean that like that. Shout out Dan Quinn, their defensive coordinator. He is doing his absolute thing with that defense. I can see the Cowboys. You know what? The three teams who I can see making Super Bowl, I will say the Cowboys because of their defense, because of Dak Prescott, because of their run game. With that combination, yes, they've folded in the past. Yes, coaching wise, aside from Dan Quinn, not the Vikings, not the Vikings. They're 6-1. I'm not sold on the Vikings at all.
Yeah.
The Eagles, of course, great quarterback play, explosive offense, great run game, generationally good. I mean, their offensive line is ridiculous. Great defense, good pass rush. They have all the makings of a Super Bowl team, and they very well could. I'm not gonna say they're gonna go undefeated, but their schedule is very easy right now for the rest of the year. I could see them winning like 14, 15 games, maybe even more. And the 49ers, just because they're playing really good football right now. Their defense is great, good receivers. Brandon Ayuk is really putting it all together. And of course, Christian McCaffrey is Christian McCaffrey. Um, Jimmy G is Jimmy G. You know, he's good enough to get you to a Super Bowl as we've seen previously. We'll see if he's good enough this year. I think he is just because the NFC isn't as elite as I think we all kind of expected heading into this year. I think this is the weakest NFC in quite some time. But besides from that, I'm not really too impressed. I'm just not really overly impressed with the NFL in general. I think there's a lot of mid, and it's like I think those five teams really have the best shot. And then you have your Dolphins, you have maybe I don't know, those five teams. I think that the Super Bowl will be won by one of those five teams.
Yep. All right, man. So that's it with the football questions. Oh, we're gonna end in a bit, but before we do, uh, we got some. I want to end off with something funny. So I don't know if you've already seen it, but it's on Twitter and like, this is a sec. Like I don't know what the fuck this is, but but like
Oh,
this is an album cover. Like I don't understand what the.
yeah, I don't know what that is exactly. I've heard of her name before, but like, what is it with Drake and these like bad, like really bad album covers?
I don't
Um,
know.
like this, the Certified Lover Boy album cover was terrible. That shit was trash. And it's like to be completely honest, I didn't even know that him and 21 were coming out with a collab album, which should be fire. But yeah, that I'm gonna have to give it a 3.4, a solid 3.4 out of 10. What about you?
I got scared, so like a 1.
One, a solid one.
Yep. I don't know. I don't really fuck with Drake anymore because I don't know. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I just don't vibe with his music anymore. Back in
Yeah.
the day, probably when I was younger in high school. But
Mm,
all I can say is fuck Drake and fuck the Toronto Raptors and everyone who plays for him. So yeah.
yes, the notorious Toronto Raptors hater here. I, for
And
one,
I'm
like
Canadian, guys. So that's what
exactly.
makes it.
Exactly, which doesn't it's not really adding up. I for one actually do like the Raptors. They're if I were to rank my
This
top
friendship is over.
if I were to rank like my top 10 favorite teams, probably the Raptors would be like a 7 or 8. I don't know. But yeah. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that the Raptors hater here would have been the one from Canada? Yeah, so anyways.
All right, man. So thank you so much. I can tell you're getting pretty tired. I myself am really tired as well too. So
Yeah.
thank you, dude, for thank you, Luke, for coming on the show once again. Really appreciate you, dude. And we'll see you in the next one, which I don't know when that's gonna be, but hopefully Ryan will be in there next time because like I did invite him, but he is currently at a Nebraska volleyball game. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Priorities. So, anyways, I will thanks for having me on once again, and should be another fun episode next time.
Yes, sir. Take care.